focusing on your fertility or focusing on your infertility will often make your infertility worse. And it's hard for me to say, like, just relax, enjoy your life, but it's important for you to understand and know this so that you can recognize, like, why it kind of becomes a self perpetuating cycle and why so much of my work is around focusing on how we can become more in harmony with life and why we need to kind of explore what brings us pleasure, what brings us joy, like, what stresses us out. When we just focus on the hormone, the out of balance hormone, like, yes, that's a thing, and that's why I have the physical products like the tea and the baths and the rubs. Those all focus on um, actually healing the hormone imbalance. But if we're just focusing on the hormone imbalance and we're not actually looking at the original kind of stimulator of that hormone imbalance, which is why we are kind of like a no to certain things in life, we might be able to get our numbers more balanced, which is great. We can with supplements, we can lower FSH. I see it every day with women just focusing on the T's. They're smoothing out their liver function enough so that their LH and prolactin levels go back to normal. Like that actually works. But when we have like a long-term infertility and our hormone levels are not at the point where just taking supplements will impact them enough. Or, we can work on our hormone levels, but as soon as we stop taking the supplement that's lowering our FSH, for instance, it just goes back up. We really need to look at the quality of our life, like how our external situation, but also then our perceived response to that. Like everything that happens in our life, we absorb and then we create a story about. So if we have a story that life is hard, life is stressful, life is traumatic, we need to look at that. If we really just hate our job, or we're surrounding ourselves with relationships that aren't supportive of us, that's important to look at. Often women kind of think that just having the baby will kind of heal the rest of their lives. If we are in a state of like that hypothalamic response that's a no, for whatever reason, for unhealthy relationships or unhealthy work experiences, or just our perceived response to stressors, the story we tell ourselves about stressors, our body is going to be in kind of a state of fight or flight. And so all of our, like, we call it jing, like our essence that we are able to use for reproductive health, that is going to go to just staying alive. So that's why I talk so much about reducing stress, easing our reactivity. If we're anxious, we need to look at that. If we're irritable and stressed all the time. So this is kind of like a cycle that gets just perpetuated. And we can kind of soften it a little bit with our teas and our bath soaks and our rubs. The reason I do so much within like the relaxation of the womb massage, yes, that's a very physically moving response. So that can support smoothing out of the liver, which will smooth out some of those hormones. But it's also like to get ourselves out of that anxious, stressed out headspace.